Hey guys, I'm learning TFT and I'm sharing my learnings with you so that you can learn and I can learn better as well. In this video, I have a coaching session with Broseph where we dived into some questions that I had, specifically lost streak lines for this patch 16.3b, double trouble mals, and when it might make sense to flex around AP on your roll down, specifically when you're playing around Seraphine. We also did an extremely deep dive into how to play the augment, silver augment on a roll, which is the best silver augment in the game. Broseph argued that if he sees that, he will auto click. And we did a deep dive into how to actually optimize that augment. From his perspective, it should average about 100 gold in value, which is insane. But when you actually see how he executes on it, you will probably believe him. He said that in a single high roll turn, he was able to extract over 20 gold in value from just one turn, which is like, that's basically 3 to 21 gold augment equivalent value, right? And that was just from the one turn. So that's one of the most broken augments in the game according to Broseph, and we talked about how to optimize that. Then we went into stage 1 holds, where we went through a few of my games and did a deep dive into thought process around what units to hold, why, what lines that they would leave down, which really helped me figure out how to approach stage 1. A big point that he also made is basically never make 10 gold in stage 1 on this patch because playing from ahead is so important. So before I dive into the coaching session, I'm going to first do the meta mindset of the day, which is be curious, not cruel. If you want to jump straight to the coaching session, take a look at the timestamp in the description below. So for those of you that are new to my channel, the meta mindset is a psychological, philosophical segment designed to help you get better at TFT, but also can hopefully extend into your life as well. All right. So part of the reason that this is a topic I wanted to talk about is both in terms of what happened in Minneapolis with the shooting this last week, and also a short story I'll share with you about my son. My son plays basketball. He has a bunch of practices a week. He plays AAU basketball. He's 9 years old right now. And he goes straight from school to the gym, which is right next door to his school. So typically he brings his basketball bag, which has his basketball, his shoes, etc. On yesterday morning, I was dropping him off at school, and as he was getting out of the car, realized that he didn't bring his bag. And so I had to bring him back home, pick up his bag, come back. But before that happened, in the moment, he was like really distraught and upset. And he said, I hate myself. And that one, like, kind of punched me in the face a little bit, although he has used some of these words in the past. And so this is something that we're working through with him. And also we have a therapist that he works with just proactively. Like, he's a very positive, generally like very positive, well-adjusted, emotionally aware kid. And this is just something we're working through. And frankly, to me, he's just stating out loud. And to a certain extent, I feel blessed that he's willing to share that with me, because I would not have said something like that to my parents at his age. And so, like, I do think that speaks something to the degree of confidence or comfort or vulnerability that he's willing to say that out loud, because I'm pretty sure I had those kinds of thoughts when I was his age, but I would just never feel safe enough to share that with the world, and I would just hold it in. So that's kind of the impetus behind this topic here, which also applies, like I've talked about after my Paris video, like I am very self-critical on myself. I've seen plenty of top players talk critically about themselves as well. And so I think this is not just something for my son or cruelty or hatred that is discharged outwardly or inwardly in just the game, right? I think this is a concept that is very pervasive both within a TFT context and throughout life. So on the topic of self-criticism and self-hate, the psychologist Karen Horney said, pride and self-hate belong inseparably together. They are two expressions of one process. So she would argue that for someone to make the comment that I hate myself, that there is a corresponding degree of pride that is attached to it. Like two sides of the same coin where you can't separate them. And so my interpretation of her argument is that it is through excessive pride or ego or wanting to have a high self image of yourself that creates this self hatred. Because when you have pride when things go well, that's great. But if you have a lot of ego and pride and you lose a TFT game or you low roll or something happens that challenges your self conception, that challenges your rank, your pride, then the self hatred arises, is what Karen Horney would argue. Ernest Becker, the philosopher, said, the main reason that the great Alfred Adler, who was considered one of the founding fathers of the field of psychology, along with Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, the main reason that Adler is still contemporary and relevant is that he broke with Freud very early on this problem, when he very clearly saw and strongly proclaimed that the basic law of human life is the urge to self-esteem. And so I'm using this term self-esteem a little bit more loosely because I think a lot of psychologists would have a distinction between the term self-esteem and pride. But to a certain extent, I think they're pretty connected as well, which is that Adler would argue that all humans, that core to human nature, is this drive towards esteem, and towards a more unhealthy version of that is pride, especially in our society that significantly rewards money, status, winning. That's core to human nature. And so a somewhat loose conclusion, I don't know that this is necessarily sound, but a loose kind of connecting the dots second order effect that I'm drawing here is that self-hate is almost core to human nature because esteem and the drive to esteem and then getting to a pride is almost like by default, kids, especially boys, to becoming men, like a healthy level of esteem almost always goes towards an unhealthy level of pride first before it kind of self-corrects. And therefore self-hate is just normal in our society. And that is not necessarily I think it is exacerbated by the societal values especially in capitalistic society, but I think that's just true in any society. But that self-hate is a normal thing. And that when my son makes this comment that I hate myself when he made a mistake, like that's okay, that's normal, and that's part of the process. And then also on top of that, when there's a lot of hatred in the world, that like, because when I was a kid, I had this conception of good and evil as like evil is this dark force, like in Star Wars or something, that like it's like this darkness that is not within me. But I think as I've matured and gotten older, it's like, oh, I see this within me, but I also see this as common to all humans. On the topic of hatred or hate, James Baldwin said, I imagine one of the reasons people cling to their hates so stubbornly is because they sense once hate is gone, they will be forced to deal with pain. And when we connect this idea back to kind of pride and self-hate being interlinked is that a lot of times hatred. So my son kind of interpreted when his pride was challenged, he turned that hatred inwardly. But I suspect, and this is more of a hypothesis than necessarily grounded in research, that a lot of that depends on your like kind of personality. Because for many people, when their pride is challenged, they externalize that hate. They point it outwards and they discharge violence outwardly. And either way, whether you point the hatred inwardly or point the hatred outwardly, what Baldwin is arguing is that the hatred is a symptom of an underlying pain, that it is a thing that is disguising some underlying pain. And in some cases, what that pain is, it's a challenge to your pride and your ego, your self esteem, a feeling of your own self worth and belonging. And when I think this quote really resonated with me because when I see like what happened with the ICE enforcement and there's a lot of hatred, or it seemed like, at least from my interpretation of what I saw with the video, like the ICE enforcement agents were like pretty aggressive. And I forgot the guy's name, but he was being pretty passive with a phone. I mean, sure, like things got heated, but to me, like that's not grounds to shoot someone. And it at no point did it seem to me as if the guy was going to reach for his gun in a very jerky action and threaten. But of course, like, things were already heated in that moment. But when I see all of this stuff happening, when I can view it through a lens of, because it's so easy to respond to hate with hate. It's so easy for me to see hatred out there and be like, those fucking idiots, or like, just like, why the fuck is this happening in the world? Why is the world so fucked up, right? Like, but this viewpoint really changed how I see the world when I see that a lot of the hatred out there is really disguising an underlying suffering and pain. And when I see it from that lens, it allows me to be a lot more compassionate to the people, both the people that are being subject to the hatred, guy that was shot, and also to the people that are discharging that hatred, because it is likely that they are dealing with some underlying suffering and pain and then just discharging that out into the world. And it also helps me understand in my own childhood when there was a lot of, not necessarily hatred, but I've talked about this before. I like my parents would yell at me a lot whenever I made mistakes. And it was really painful and I blamed them a lot for it. But as I started to understand where my parents came from in their culture, and like my dad shared a story recently where in Taiwan, when he was growing up, there were 60 kids in a classroom. And so whenever a kid made a mistake or was out of line, the teacher would like basically whip them on the hand with a stick. And that was like the only way that they could really keep a class under control, because it was just, how can one adult manage 60 kids? I mean, you could from a kind, compassionate way, but that takes infinite patience and a lot of self work for that adult to be able to manage that, right? The easier way is to just do it with discipline and violence and threat of force and punishment, which frankly is what's happening with the US right now and how the government is approaching challenging social issues. But I think connecting that back with this idea of pain, it helped me get more curious and more compassionate with my parents and their childhoods and the pain that they struggled with. And it helped me kind of connect the dots more, because I interpreted their punishment of me as like, I'm a bad person, I deserve this, I'm not good enough. But once I could like kind of see this bigger picture of this idea, it like really helped me connect a lot of the dots. Eric Hoffer, the philosopher, said, passionate hatred can give meaning and purpose to an empty life. And so part of the pain that I think Baldwin is saying that connects with Hoffer is an there's an emptiness in people's moralities and value systems in how we live in the world today. And that comes with a lot of pain and suffering. In the past, before when Nietzsche claimed God is dead, it was kind of much more clear, like what is our moral purpose here? What are we trying to do here, right? Like, well, we're here to live a good life and be virtuous so that we can go to heaven. And that, even if that was, viewed from a modern lens, seems kind of naive. That gave people purpose, and it gave people meaning and a reason to get up in the morning, and frankly gave them a reason to be kind to each other. And even if that wasn't necessarily true, which I'm not Christian, and neither am I saying I'm like for sure atheist, I'm agnostic. So I don't necessarily state that like that for sure is not true. But even if it is not true, that formula and way of living offered people a way to go about the world and have meaning in their lives and live in a kind, compassionate, cohesive way with each other. And that has been lost in our modern society, particularly because now it has become a capitalistic driven winner takes all. If I win, you lose type mindset, zero sum gameness that results in a lot of people feeling like they are feel meaningless or purposelessness because the American dream is dead and they can't actually climb the social ladder. And that gives rise to this passionate hatred that we are seeing rising in mass across the world, or people increase like suicide rates also rising in mass, or mass shootings rising in mass. Marshall B. Rosenberg said, "Violence comes from the belief that other people cause our pain and therefore deserve punishment." And so, another related idea to what Rosenberg's saying in this quote that's not explicitly stated here is that, similar to what Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, said, your pain, our pain, my pain, actually comes from myself. It's my own thoughts and feelings that give rise to that, and my interpretation of the reality around me. It is not so much the outside world that causes my pain, it is my interpretation of what is happening that causes the pain. But violence, Rosenberg argues, is when we misconstrue the causation flow to say that the pain is coming from outside and that we are the victim. When we say that we can control our interpretation of what's happening and therefore modify our thoughts and belief structures, then we can modify how we feel and we become the hero of our own story, because then we can overcome what is happening outside. Whereas when we think that our pain and suffering is caused from outside and we are the victim, that is when the victim wants to inflict violence back out on the world, which is like kind of Old Testament morality of like an eye for an eye. And so Rosenberg is arguing that when we do not have the proper big picture understanding that we can actually control the lens through which we see the stuff that's happening outside there, and we can control to transform our suffering into something more positive. If we do not do that hard work, then violence is the natural outcome. This is also why I'm such a big believer in therapy and doing this work, being introspective. Why I also see TFT as an amazing metaphor for all of this, because a lot of times playing TFT can be hard and we suffer and we feel pain and not everything goes our way, but all of that is practice. It's all practice for all of this, of like how to transform the inward looking pain into something positive instead of discharging the hatred outwardly. And we see this a lot amongst top players. And I'm not saying everyone is, I'm not blaming people either. I'm just saying this is just common human nature, right? Like, go back here. The basic law of human life is the urge to self esteem. And when that self-esteem is threatened, hatred and violence arise. But it is an opportunity for us to practice, particularly because this game is a perfect metaphor for all of that. Carl Jung, the psychologist, one of the founding fathers of psychology, said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. And this I also relate to a quote by Abraham Lincoln, the American president, who said, something I'm paraphrasing, I don't like that man. I must get to know them better. So it is about a curiosity of other people, because underlying whatever it is that someone has done that's bothering us, likely there is something about ourselves that is common to what is happening with them. And when we are responding to hatred with hatred, we are just amplifying. We it's like a nuclear arms race, right? And what's going to happen in a nuclear arms race in a world where technology and AI is getting more and more insane and weapons are getting more and more insane? Like it's kind of obvious, right? Like, I think the obvious outcome, if we cannot as a society work together, and it starts with ourselves, each one of us, each one of you watching this, if we cannot do this on an individual level and do this on a societal level, the almost, to me, obvious inevitable outcome is Homo sapiens as a species will wipe themselves out. We will wipe ourselves out. And this is why I send my kids to a very progressive like school that focuses on social emotional learning, because I fundamentally believe that this is like core to how we as a human species will survive in the next, 50 to 100 years. Like, who knows if artificial intelligence and AGI wipe us out? Like, but I mean, humans themselves, ourselves, will probably wipe us ourselves out if we cannot learn to address this core human urge and find the line between healthy self-esteem and excessive pride, hate, and violence. Erich Fromm said, the philosopher said, the more the drive toward life is thwarted, the stronger is the drive toward destruction. The more life is realized, the less is the strength of destructiveness. Destructiveness is the outcome of unlived life. So I'm kind of using destruction and violence interchangeably here. But a lot of times, people are feeling stuck. This whole idea of make America great again that Trump ran his campaign on is this. It's life feels thwarted. People feel like their sense of self-esteem and ego are being challenged. In TFT, it means you feel like your heart's stuck and you are pounding your head against the wall. You're not getting better, right? And what Fromm is arguing is that, well, when that happens, people naturally want to be destructive. They want to bring about violence. You see this in kids. When kids cannot do the thing that they want, they throw a tantrum. Sometimes they start getting physical. They might try to destroy stuff. Like, especially this happens with little kids that want to emulate older siblings, when the older sibling like builds something like Legos or something, or blocks, and then the little kid wants to come around, especially if the older kid doesn't want them to be able to play with them. The little kid, what's the little kid gonna do when they're thwarted from doing the thing they want? They destroy the thing that the older kid built, right? That destructiveness is the outcome of an unlived life. All right, so on the subject of self-forgiveness and kindness, Nancy McWilliams said, self-knowledge is one goal of therapy, but a more profound goal is self-acceptance. So self-knowledge is kind of what Socrates argued, right? The ultimate goal of a well-lived life is self-awareness, understanding yourself. But McWilliams argued self-acceptance is actually a more profound goal. That when you can learn to accept yourself, which also means that you are forgiving yourself for that self-hate, not necessarily saying I want to make it go away or prevent it, but rather maybe even acknowledging that's there, and yet I still love myself, and I'm willing to forgive myself for that happening, because This is just core to all humans. That comes with a natural sense of letting go of your ego and pride, which is a very core, like kind of Buddhist concept, and having a healthy sense of self-esteem. When we're able to do those things, self-acceptance, then we will no longer feel the need to discharge violence in the world because our pain and suffering will be diminished when we accept ourselves and who we are. And there will be less of a need to be destructive outside of ourselves. When other people are irritated, we can then be compassionate towards ourselves and others. And that is the way we bring peace into the world, is through this level of self-acceptance. And each one of us can start doing that with ourselves. We don't need to change the outside world first. And if each and every one of us start doing that inwardly ourselves, then we can slowly have that start spreading outwardly. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, it is not hate that will conquer hate, it is through love. And self-acceptance is core to that love. Daniel Goleman said one of the main principles of cognitive therapy is that you don't have to believe your thoughts. So this is related with what I said earlier with Marcus Aurelius, where when stuff happens outside, you can blame the world. You low roll a game in TFT, but you can change the lens through which you see the world. You can change. Yes, your thoughts are going to happen, and you can. My son's immediate thought after forgetting his bag could be, "I hate myself. I'm a horrible person. Like, why did I do that?" Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You just go down a rabbit hole. This happens to me in TFT all the time. But just because you're having those thoughts does not mean they are true. This is where mindfulness has been really helpful for me, where I can just practice the mode of observing my thoughts and letting them go. Observing them like clouds floating by in the sky. Like, yes, they're there. That's what our brain's job is to create thoughts and ruminate. But we don't have to necessarily get attached to them and believe them. The Chinese proverb says, "He who blames others has a long way to go on his journey. He who blames himself is halfway there. He who blames no one has arrived." And so a lot of people naturally want to discharge blame. But then, interestingly enough, my son has already gone to the point where he's blaming himself instead of other people. But when we can actually blame no one and I think that ties with this idea of curiosity, when we can, as Jung said, get curious about what's bothering us about other people, because that can give us a deeper understanding of ourselves. And when we can understand that there's this basic law of human life that's urged to self-esteem, when we can connect all these dots together, then perhaps we can get to the point where we don't blame anyone. Alden Nolan said, "The day the child realizes that all adults are imperfect, he becomes an adolescent. The day he forgives them, he becomes an adult. The day he forgives himself, he becomes wise." It took me a while to realize even that my parents were not perfect, because so much of being a child and feeling scared and insecure in the world, you want to believe that the people in charge have things under control. But part of becoming an adolescent is realizing, like, nah, like, my parents didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Like, they were just winging it, and they have their own fucked up stuff. And then you extend that into society and the leaders that we have in this world. Like, a lot of leaders that we have are just grown-up children that throw tantrums and are not that evolved as people. They're imperfect. And when we can forgive our parents for the shit that they fucked up and their imperfections, when we can forgive the people in charge that are fucking up the world, then we can become an adult. And the day we can forgive ourselves and truly forgive ourselves and understand that we are all humans, we all struggle with the same things. We are all common in this sense. No matter our skin, what language we speak, skin color, our value systems, where we come from, whether we were born in a certain country or another country, we can realize that we're all common in this. We can forgive other people and we can forgive ourselves. That is when we can become truly wise. That is when we can find peace. And that is when we can, as a society, learn to live together and thrive together. Because AI and technology is already here. It is accelerating. It can be the force that destroys us as a species, or it can be the force that could create a human utopia, unlike any that we've ever seen before. And it really depends on how we navigate this transition period, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have less and less relatives to the people that have more and more. And how we navigate this bridge is going to determine like the path that we take as a species. So I hope you enjoyed this meta mindset. Be curious, not cruel. I apologize if this has been way too philosophical and off the deep end. I'd love to hear your thoughts, how these ideas resonate with you, how they might connect to your own life and your own experiences, how they might connect to what's been happening geopolitically lately. But yeah, other than that, I hope you also enjoy this coaching session with Broseph. It was super insightful. I learned a lot, especially this honor roll stuff. And I'll include timestamps in the description below as well. With that said, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, not much. Prepping for trials. How about you?
Good. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. All right. I will be playing in the cup the next week, which is on a different patch, but I will be doing lots. I understand this patch pretty reasonably too.
Nice.
All right. Cool. Let me just do this real quick. Alrighty. All right. I assume we're getting started on this stuff on the screen. Yeah.
Yep. So a bunch of questions. I have one specific spot for Sona reroll with on roll, and then figure we could do some stage one kind of mod reviewing of like some top player, and then also of my own games.
Yep.
All right. So first question: lost streak lines for Void specifically seems like the most common one. What mods are you willing to play? Are you willing to play Husk or no?
I'm willing to play all of them if they happen to be my best opener. Like if it's the best line I can play. Like I'm not gonna sit there and refuse to play Void on this patch, uncontested, and then just play nothing instead because I have Adrenaline Husk. Like I'll still play it.
Okay. Liz Sarah, what do you think about going lost streak into that?
That comes better from tempo. It's okay from loss. I don't love it. But sometimes it's your best opener, and that's all you have. Like sometimes you're sitting there on like 2-1, and you're just waiting on your frontline upgrades, and they never come, so you just lose. So like at that point, you're just on the line, and you just play it fundamentally well. But yeah, if your opener is not strong, holding towards those units is probably a fairly good idea. Yeah.
Okay. Thoughts
the nice thing about defenders. Sorry, I'll add one more thing. The nice thing about defenders early is that there are a lot of them. There's 2 different 1-cost defenders. There's 2 different 2-cost defenders. There's Sejuani on next. There's Sejuani on at 3 costs. Zoe is fairly strong on 3 costs to help the comp. Loris is also fairly good and rounds out 4 Pilt if you happen to get it early. So the chance that you find upgrades is pretty high, actually, because that line has fairly high unit density of like different units that you can hit and or upgrade to improve the board.
Okay.
So like there's like a line, there's like an angle where you look at the spot and you're like, all right, I'm supposed to play towards this like defender, invoker, opener, but I can't win right away, so I'm just gonna like wait until I hit some upgrades and hopefully grab a good component off the first carousel. Yeah.
What do you think of comeback story into this line?
Bad.
Okay.
I don't think comeback story is good into this line.
I've started to see like some players doing that, and
does it look good? This line? I don't think it should be particularly good in this line. I think it should be much better into like any melee comp.
Yeah, it's been like middling, like top, like 4th or 5th. But I guess if
I think comeback stories are reasonably. Yeah, I think it's a reasonably powerful augment. If you don't have any other opener, I think it's like fine, especially if you're under contested. Yeah.
Okay. And then Warwick from Lost. What do you think of that?
Warwick from Lost with like, I think Warwick is like fairly good from Warwick is fairly good from some kind of scaling combat from Lost. I think is great. Like your use of gold is actually kind of suspicious, but your use of like scaling combat is excellent. Like I think like bodyguard training is excellent. I think comeback story is excellent into this line. Not gonna lie, I don't know how good Forge from Strength should be, but that one should be playable at the least. As like these kind of like comeback augments. But you really want things ideally that like really buff the Warwick and make him unkillable. Because like if your board just becomes unkillable, well then they can't kill your board, and your Warwick and your Jinx kind of just take over.
Okay. Infinity protection.
Yeah, that would be a good one too. Yeah.
Although usually you play it with Freljord, right? Like how do you just kind of sack some?
I don't think you're usually supposed to play with. You can.
What's the board that you're playing with Warwick now?
I think you usually play 5s on. Like I'll tell you a good place to point. Go to Wei Jin's match history. He plays the normals games. Those were 4v4s against our team. Just look into the games. There should be some work board. So that's his work board. What is the characteristics of his work board? He's running. He's running like 5s on. Yeah.
The Seraphine Defender core.
Yeah, he's running. Or it's not exact. It's 5s on, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, 5s on plus that the Nico.
Yeah, don't scroll down. Scroll up. Look at the next game. Just like expand the game so you can see the lobby. Like you see those 3 normal games. Like just look in those 3.
Look in the top.
And then like hunt. Yeah. Like hunt for the Warwick boards. None there. The top one.
Okay, Dehua played.
Yeah, what's on the board? It's just 5s on. That one has the Jinx because
then just flex.
He just held that as a Jinx.
Usually it's Swain and then just whatever quality units after. There's another one. This is 5s on with
Seraphine. Sometimes Seraphine's there, sometimes it's not. That one has a failure. Is that a failure? No, that's what emblem is that? It's a Zon emblem, right?
An Arcanist.
Yeah. So there's just a Zon emblem there. And then below that, I can't promise anything, but I just know there were some Warwick games in the match history, and it performed reasonably well.
It's usually 5s on plus Swain plus like flex quality units.
Yeah. But the important thing is that you have a lot of actual power or combat from your augments.
Okay. I gotta try that out more.
Yeah, it's specifically scaling combat. Yeah.
Okay. Double Trouble Mal's. What are the conditions, or you think it's auto click Double Trouble on 2-1?
So if the theory is that it's as good as Double Trouble Mal's from last set, which I don't exactly think it is, I don't know precisely where the line is. I saw a Chinese guy in my game just clicking a hard force it from a spot that I didn't think looked that good. They did like they got like 4th or 5th or something. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you the factors. The best service I can do for you is I can tell you the factors that make it better or worse, and you can figure out where the line is. Because like I couldn't okay, I'll tell you what my conservative line would be. My conservative line would be I have like most components are fine. My conservative line would be I have leeching, and hopefully I think it's like hopefully I have leeching, and there's like some gold from something that comes from the portal or anything like that. And my other line has to be worse. So I would consider this to be a reasonable line. But like if I'm sitting here like 2-star Jin, 2-star Shen, I probably won't be clicking Double Trouble, right? But like if the rest of my openers suck, then yeah, you can just rip it. If the rest of your openers like totally suck, you might even just rip this without knowing what mods you have. But just know that leeching is very, very good on the Malzahar.
Okay, it's the mod prio is leeching greater than, spines greater than. Adrenaline's just not playable, right?
It's
Or is
very
it?
bad. Yeah, it's very bad. I would consider it to be very bad.
Okay. All right. And then you're usually, I assume, going to lost streak into 3-5, send it down to hit your 2 stars, and potentially be at like 20 or 10 gold on 3-5, and hopefully stabilize.
That's only if all your shops until then are very low roll. Like I think so. Here's what I think. I think you should. Okay, the place where I differ is I don't think you should be on average required to roll that deep because you should be playing around hopefully a slightly wider field of units that don't necessarily mean you have to roll for exactly the board with hopefully 1-2 star. So like playing around like extra copies of what is it? Like extra copies of like maybe Echo or extra copies of Juggernauts just to have on your board and to save you some HP until then and to like hold you over until you can do like the better, more hefty 4-1 roll down for on level 7. Or like Zoe pair, Leona pair are all very good as well. You just put both on the board and they do a lot of damage. Like those guys have a lot of fucking base HP.
Right. And then on 3-2, I assume we're typically looking for econ.
If you econ or items, if you don't have enough econ, then yeah, you're gonna have to take econ. But yeah, I think items are also good because like you want to get items quickly and like you have fairly like you prefer to have 3 item buy 4-1 if possible. So yeah, econ or items.
Okay. And then what's your thought on flexing AP on your roll down? I feel like usually you're either going into. I think this probably only applies to Seraphine list because I guess if you're playing Kaisa, you know you're playing Kaisa. If you're playing Demacia, you're playing
Demacia,
Demacia. But like,
correct?
let's say you're playing Sarah list, like, and like, are you willing to hold like Jarvan's,
No,
Garen,
no,
and
I'm not.
Lux?
No, I don't think so. I don't
Okay, so you're
like.
just committing to the line.
Yeah, and if somehow, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure it's literally impossible to have no one playing any of the AP lines. It makes sense to just like play what line you're on and stay in your lane, basically. Uh the the exception I can think of, I like okay, and if you want to flex into Demacia, you have to be like holding the Demacias into there. Like if you have the Demacias, you can flex them. If you don't have like the Jarvan pair or the Sona 2 and or the Poppy and Zin, you literally cannot play it, I think.
Okay.
So generally you wouldn't be flexing it.
Okay.
If you wanted to, there's like a not a crazy, but like there's like a reasonable optimization you can make around being willing to play into like you play around Seraphine still, but and you play around Vi, but you'd be willing to branch into the Swain, Nico, hopefully Mel and Bessa kind of direction. If those are the units that you're hitting a lot more of.
Right. Okay. It's more so
Yeah.
flex around the Noxus Sarah versus the Sarah, but not as divergent as like.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And like if you figured on like stage 3 that it was good to flex into Demacia, you should already be like holding the units and like be open. You should be very like it's not something you decide on 4-2. You decided it way earlier if you look at the board and you're like, oh, like one person or 0 people are Demacia, but there's like 3 people on this AP line that I'm trying to play. That's probably bad to try to straight contest them.
Okay. And the other thing is this Nox Sarah line is kind of also conditional upon you having probably a EG to utilize Mbessa properly, and then also like an adaptive slam on your front line to utilize Mel?
I mean, like it would be better if that was the case, and if you're angling it, you would want that to be the case too. But like,
Because like if you
sometimes
just
your
have
bet
tank
is,
items and Seraphine items, like, and you're not itemizing, well, one, you have to sack around on Mbessa. I guess you could just put one component, right?
no, you just put one component, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But you're just gonna have a naked Mbessa 2 and Mel 1.
You want more items. Like that line is better with more items compared to the other. I mean, the other line can use more items as well. But I mean, like the comparison is not between being able to hit the whole failure board and the whole like Noxus board. It's between not being able to hit the failure board and being able to hit the other board. I would say.
Okay, so just being able to hit 2 stars is without ideal items is still better than not hitting your ideal board with some items.
Yeah, and then you just can't hit your contestant. You just go 8th like that. That would probably be worse. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Like one of the boards is better, and one of the boards is better by a substantial amount, such that it dramatically affects the percentage of rounds you can win throughout stage 4 and 5. That's why it's better.
Okay, so what percentage of the time are you actually holding all of the units in both of these lines? Are you doing it most of the time, or only like if you're contested?
I would only do it if I'm contested on my line. Is when I would be doing it. If I'm uncontested if I'm like, yeah, I'm uncontested or not very. If I'm like only one weight on like Seraphine Braum, I'll just play the Seraphine Braum. But like technically, if you have enough gold, it would be optimal to hold both ways regardless. I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Sona with on a roll.
Yep.
I guess first question is, how do you decide whether you want to go into Sona or Ishtal reroll?
Having a good number of Sona copies at the start help is especially Sona pair leads you more towards Sona. B, somebody already playing Ishtal makes it worse or like unplayable to play Ishtal. Someone already playing Sona probably makes Sona unplayable too. But in general, me myself, I'm actually not like 100% on board with always Ishtal if you have the ability to do so, but I can believe it for sure. I've been told that. I think that like you can take like a very easy, simple game if like you have like reasonable, like you have tier rod or like a rod or anything that can make like reasonable Sona items. To just play Sona if you're on like a reasonable number of copies. I think Sona is like way easier to execute and way lower variance on that line. On the honor roll line for that basically is what I think. So if I've got Sona pair or I hit like early Sona 2, I'm very happy to just play the Sona reroll line. Okay. Especially with the way I know how to optimize honor roll that I don't think everyone does.
Okay. And so also in tournament, also probably depends on what placement I need at that point.
If you need first, you'll probably just play Ishtal, right?
Yeah, okay.
If you need like top 5, top 3, top 4, I always play the Sona.
Okay. And then in the Sona line, I assume you're typically playing Bard?
No. You never buy Bard, you never put Bard on the board on the Sona line. I also never buy I don't unlock Poppy until I need it, and I don't ever buy any other copies of any other Demacia units until I have both 3-starred.
Wait, don't buy any other copy of Demacia units until Jarvan and Sona 3-star?
Correct.
Ah.
I think my utilization of the bench slots is way better than how the average challenger player plays it. Like you need to maximize bench slots and board slots, and having any copy of like Bard or like Demacia like just makes it bad. Like I've hit the Sona on 2-5 or 2-6, and then bench the Sona because it doesn't make you income. Like you can't 2-star a unit, you already have 3-starred.
Okay, so you're just sacking the stage and you're not slamming items because you might unlock.
Yeah.
Okay. When do you stop greeting free rolls?
When you stop greeting free rolls,
and just send it.
as a bet. Just send it. Basically, if you play it properly for Sona, at least we're talking about Sona, right?
Yeah.
For Sona, you should never be in a spot where, like, it should basically be impossible if you play it properly that you don't hit the Sona and Jarvan for free without rolls left over. But like essentially, I've seen people in the spot where you don't have the gold because like you fuck something up, which happens sometimes. In that spot, you would have to send it on 3-2 usually, probably. I can do a demonstration if you like of how I would do it, and you can. It might.
I have a game example. Maybe we can go through.
Sure.
What I did to like kind of identify all the mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay. What about on a roll for like more generally? Let's say either you're playing Ishtal or maybe you're just using on a roll to like. Do you ever use on a roll just to tempo into like a 4-cost line? Not tempo, but just use it for econ, like basically the equivalent of patience.
I would never opt to use it like that.
Okay.
In its current iteration. Because if you use it in the optimized way, it gives you 100 gold.
Gives you 100 gold?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. We can count. I'm pretty sure it gives you 100 gold.
Okay. That's why it's so broken in this.
Oh, I mean, like people here
don't even use it optimally, and it's like this.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Okay, let's go over my example then.
Sure. So here I would take on a roll without rolling the other components, or without rolling the other augments.
Oh, just so you can save.
No. Just as a statement as to how strong I think it is compared to the other augments.
Okay. So given this spot, I have one. So I guess first off, before we even get to optimizing on a roll, but more so with line selection, like I have one Sona.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Like, actually, I guess I can go back and look.
Like, if there's anyone playing any Nico line, I wouldn't. I would just play the Sona.
Wow, everyone was list surfing this game.
I
assume maybe there were a couple people with Nikos in the early game. I'm not positive.
Maybe. Sorry. What I meant like a Nico reroll line is what I meant.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like Echo or Aphelios reroll or Ishtal reroll, I wouldn't contest. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say there is not anybody else that falls in that category. Yep. How would you?
Yep.
Would you lean toward Ishtal because we don't have Sona pair here and no Jarvans?
Okay, I'll tell you what I would do, which is different than what I think a lot of pros would do. I would just play the Sona here. I would look at the spot and just play Sona because I'm pretty sure like the gold optimization from being able to use all your bench slots and not having to hold random 2 costs is like worth it to me. It's worth it to me, in my opinion.
Okay. How would item components modify your line selection, if at all?
Probably not very much.
Okay, because they use roughly similar items.
Yeah, they're roughly the same. Yeah.
Okay, so now we are assuming we are committed to doing on a roll. Are you ever rolling here?
For sure. You for sure roll this turn.
Okay, so roll on 2-1. How deep are you willing to roll here if you're missing? You just go all the way?
I would roll if you're missing. I would roll. I mean, you can't miss that much on level 3. I would roll until I'm buffering an upgrade onto the board.
Okay.
This spot, I would also snap sell the Aphelios and the Scion.
Yeah.
And like if I see like another pair, yeah, the Yasuo you can kind of hold because you can upgrade it right now on the off chance. But in the moment you see like another pair, you would get that shit out of here. Also, this turn it's already fucked because here there's actually like not a non-zero chance you could have immediately upgraded the Jin. Like it's possible, right?
Right.
Or the Shen, and then you would like sell them off the board, shuffle it around, and then roll more until the free rolls run out, and hopefully you can buffer some more things onto the board. Ideally.
Okay. So already.
So like I'll tell you, so of the list of things I would do differently is conservatively you would just snap sell every 2 cost, roll once, you probably don't hit anything. Roll again, you probably hit something by then. Buffer the upgrades onto the board, and then wait until next turn.
Yeah. Okay.
I would also planner only Sona and Jarvan as the only units I'd be prioritizing holding in this situation.
Okay. This makes a lot more sense to me now with the game plan.
Here you have to roll until you like hit an upgrade at least. So another thing here, now on this turn, you have to cycle off all the units that were on the board on this turn, and then refresh them with new units that weren't on the board last turn. Because on this turn, my plan is to roll, and if I hit Sona 2, I don't want that thing to be on the board during combat. I want it to be on my bench so I can insta-combine it. If it's a bad unit, I can insta-sell it. If it's a good unit, I will hold. But like it can't combine between the bench and the board if it wasn't on the board. If it's still on the board, right? And because it was on my board on 2-1, if I hit like a blitz 2, I don't want to be like waiting for it to combine into the next turn. I want to use the board slot right now to be able to cook up a different unit that I could be upgrading on 2-3.
Okay, so the logic. Okay, I thought it had to be played last round and be on the board to upgrade, but you can play last round, upgrade on the bench is fine.
Yes.
And there's so many nuances to this. Okay, so
it makes a big difference because it's snowbally. It's not linear return.
Okay, so start of round, move 1 cost from board to bench, move
and swap different 1 costs on, ideally the paired ones.
Pairs onto board. Okay.
Yep. And then you would literally roll until so like any of the units that were on the board last turn, I can just freely upgrade, right? I can freely make a blitz, I can freely make a Sona I'll have to keep, blitz I can snap sell, right? And then the moment I hit one of the other units that I'm trying to cook, when I say cook, you know what that means. I'm trying to like buff, like have it be on the board to be activated for the next turn. If I'm trying to cook the Jin, I roll until I hit the Jin 2, put the Jin on the board, then buy the Jin after the round starts, and then roll for the other upgrades as well to see if I can like high roll a little and then cook more than just the Jin on the board at once.
Okay, yeah, I could see how this can like probably triple or quadruple the amount of value I'm getting from this augment.
Yeah.
Here, would you sell the
I would roll until
I would
say Yasuo pair.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then just keep going.
Like you're a little bit less than 3 times as likely to hit a Lulu than a Yasuo. So like the chance you hit 2 Lulus is probably actually faster than 1 Yasuo from here on this turn.
And odds are I could find another 1 cost pair like next turn anyway. That's pair likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, if you have gold, I've actually had like a EFT tendency to be more conservative than I actually should be. I think if you have the gold, you should be rolling for hopefully max cook starting on 2-1. So like, or maybe not max cook, but at least like 1 upgrade from 1-4 and at least 1 cooked. So I'm saying that usually I roll for 1 cooked upgrade. The right answer might be to try to cook 2 or 3. Like 2 or 3 buffered upgrades. I'm not sure. That one I'm going to test that one out because the econ implications are a little bit hefty, but
Wait,
I feel like
so
that might be right.
just to make sure I understand you correctly, you typically on 1-4, if you have a 2-star upgrade, you will try to cook it in anticipation of on a roll.
No. I'm saying that like what I do right now on 2-1 is I will roll until I get 3 copies of a unit that I have to buffer, right?
Yeah.
So like in this situation, or like this spot, you didn't have Kate on the board last turn. I would roll until I have like any of the units that were benched but not prepped. I would roll until I have 3 copies of them and then buffer them onto the board. I'm saying that after you do that, it might still be right if you have gold to roll more on level 3 to try to finish like one or 2 of your other units also on the board.
Yeah.
That might
Especially
be right.
if you have free rolls.
Oh, free rolls 100% you do it.
Okay,
like free rolls, that's not even a question.
Okay, you're
no
saying
free rolls is
going
when it
beyond
becomes
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the expected, like basically hitting it is worth 4. Wait, how many rolls you get 2, right? Hitting it is worth 4 gold. And
it also accelerates your next turn. So it's not like every roll you get is actually worth more than 1 roll until you fully cap out what your board and bench is capable of. Like the fully capped out version is limited by like round timing, right? Because cooking takes up a turn and it takes up a slot. You can only do that with 4 different units. You're also limited by bench slots. So like theoretically, the best singular turn I've ever had is I double finished. So I had like 2. The best turn I ever had is I finished 2 buffered units on that turn. I benched 2 of the units I cooked from the last turn. So I'm already at 8 rolls. I'm already at 8 gold or 4 rolls. I finished both the units I had cooked from last turn. I buffered 2 more units on that turn, and I found one of the units I cooked last turn again. So I got like one on that turn. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 upgrades on that one turn, or like essentially on that one turn. So which gave me 14 rolls or 28 gold worth of value on one turn.
Okay.
That was the best turn I've ever had.
Okay. That makes sense.
And like 4 to 5 is like normal-ish for the later rounds in stage 2. But you only get into that spot by spending your gold more aggressively.
Yeah.
And the thing to note is that the moment you start using actual gold to roll for your Sona, the game has fallen apart basically.
Right.
And like you haven't optimized it highly enough.
Okay, that makes
I think
sense.
like the last time I ran this augment, I played the Ishto line, it was probably really low roll. I rolled once. It was like true minimum gold. Like there's no extra gold in the game. I rolled once and my whole shop was 2 costs, or like it was like 4 2 costs. So, and then I didn't have enough gold to roll more without selling pairs, so I elected not to roll. But that's like the turbo unlucky kind of situation.
Okay. Now that I think I understand more what you're saying. By the way, 1-4. If you cook something on 1-4 and then pick on a roll, it doesn't give you free rolls, right?
It does.
It does?
Oh, if you cook it. Oh, wait, if you buffered it?
If you buffered it on
shouldn't.
1-4.
It shouldn't. Because it completes before you pick the augment, yeah.
Right, okay. Okay, so now that I understand better how to optimize this, I understand now also why you would prefer Sona.
Yes. I believe that people don't do this properly with Sona, and you're supposed to leave. Oh, by the way, if you hit like the Sona way early, you don't have to go for the Jarvan 3. I think. Like I've been on 6 copies and I just didn't roll for it.
Right.
I just went 8. I just went 8 with a Sona 3 on 3-1, a fair amount of gold, and like 10 extra rerolls actually in my bank, and then more that I would get over the next course of the next few rounds. Because I'm still like kind of like, because I still have like units that I can upgrade on my board, right? And like if I get to like Xin Zhao pair, Poppy pair, I'll just spend the rolls to upgrade them right there. Because like I don't need Poppy 3 or Xin Zhao 2, and I don't need an early game, right? Those literally cost you gold. I'll just roll for it later with the bunch of gold I've acquired. Yeah.
Okay. So if you hit on a roll with like 1 or 2 Sonas, what do you think your AVP is?
1 or 2. I don't think the number really matters. I think the AVP is like almost entirely not determined by how many Sonas you have, but rather by how lucky or unlucky your first 2 rolls are, or 3 rolls on 2-1 are.
Okay, but
So
let's just say
but
average.
assuming average with 1 or 2 Sonas, you're probably guaranteed third. I think. Like I don't think you can place below third, and I think you can. They're like, depending on the lobby, there might be like there might be a number of boards that like no matter what you have, you can't beat. You would if you're uncontested, you would probably for sure be going for like the Sona or the Jarvan or Lux 3. It would be very good for that. So I would imagine the placement in like a reasonable Sona spot should be like on average under 3.0 in my opinion.
And what do you think the AVP is for Ishtal?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've only played Honor Roll Ishtal once, and I was very unlucky. I think the AVP should be, assuming like reasonable roll RNG, it should be a little bit better. It should probably be around 2.5. I think 2.5. But the variance is higher, I think, because you can get locked more. I think like the chance you get locked more on Sona or like locked, like shop locked or like roll locked, because your rolls aren't that good. Like when you're playing Ishtal, you're trying to bank up as many rolls as possible with 4-3-2. With Sona, you're like, that's when you're acquiring the units more, right? Yeah, basically that. You're like the modes are different, right? Like if you're like floating above between 0 and 3 rolls for most of stage 2, that's fine because you're spending a bunch of them while you're rolling for the Sonas. If you're floating between 0 and 3 rolls after stage 2, you just don't have any fucking rolls on level 6 to hit your board, right? Because you were literally also in that line, you only hold Bards and Nikos and Kianas are the only units that you hold. You don't hold any of the other units. So like if you get like
So you're not
a combination of shop lock or no, do not unlock Oriana. You definitely do not want to unlock Oriana. It's in fact it's really bad to unlock Oriana before then.
Okay. So if you're angling Ishtal, how many free rolls on average are you kind of targeting by 3-2?
You're hoping to come out with at least 10, if not like 14 to 16 rolls, I think. In which case, like some of this like more aggressive post-rolling stuff makes less sense. You'd want to be a bit more efficient with like the number of rolls you come out, because the rolls on level aren't as valuable, especially if you don't have the bench space to leverage it. So I was probably slightly under optimizing for playing it in the Ishtal version because I played it the same way, and that doesn't seem to be exactly right.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It seems way more high skill and complicated to play this line. And unless I get practice for it, I think I'm probably just in tournament lean towards Sona. It's like way safer.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'll see if I find the spot to practice it. I guess related to that then is maybe
I mean, you can just practice it on the or like there's like kind of a way to practice the logic a little bit on like the roll simulator, but yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that's a good. Practice roll. Let's say we are defaulting Sona, but you hit. I assume you're holding the Ishtal units like Nico, and let's say you're defaulting towards Sona, but then are you open still to holding Milio and Nico on the rolls if they're not getting in the way of your 1-cost bench slots? But then the moment it fills,
that's literally impossible. It's like that's like the chance that can happen is as good as 0. Because remember, I'm starting to roll on the Sona line on level 3, right? And I'm selling every 2 costs to hold all the 1 costs. The chance it doesn't affect the odds is literally 0 because I have to drop a 1 cost to hold it, right? It's like impossible. I wouldn't hold it, basically. For me, I wouldn't hold it on Sona. Like there's no situation where I see Emilio and then I'm going to sit there and I'm going to sell a 1 cost to hold Emilio.
So it would really have to be like you're seeing them in the same shop to even consider.
Or like you'd be determined to play Emilio, basically. Or like your literal first shot. Like you would have to like go in having Emilio is probably because like you don't even want to have the Ishtal. You don't even want to have. There's like a. Can you have Ishtal on the board? Not really, because you can't upgrade those units. I don't think you even really want to have like. There's a bunch of conflicting things that I don't exactly know how you're supposed to juggle. But like theoretically, if you had 3 Ishtal, it would make it better to play into Ishtal from that spot, right? And you would like alternate spots on the board, and then you would do like low roll or like
Like it could
low
depend on
active
quests,
roll.
right? Like let's say it had Cluttered Mind or Roll Ishtal quests. Like I guess the argument would be that you're still getting less value from the Ishtal cash out than just pure on a roll value.
Yeah, I literally still like. I literally still think it's not worth it because the reroll one you could do, I guess, right? Like that one you could actually do, and you could just toggle it on and then like toggle it off and only put it on when it's like convenient to like resolve the quest. But like the other ones, you have to have them on the board, which means they're taking up your board slots, which are like really important for gathering enough upgrades. Unless you're like playing relatively, unless like you're not being so aggressive with your rolls, which I don't know. I don't think is that good. Honestly, the Ishtal line might not average 2. Like I don't know how it averages 2.5. I'm being told it averages something like that. But yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So the game plan on the Ishtal variant is you're just kind of doing the same thing as Sona, assuming you can basically keep getting like ideally it's like you get 20 plus gold in value every turn like you did in the high roll spot. And then you're just coming out on 3-2 with a fuck ton of gold, and then you're just rolling for Ishtal on 3-2.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually the game plan between both is kind of similar. Like arguably,
I guess so. You just lose like the I cannot emphasize how much it decreases your expected gold value from having to hold every Bard, every Kiana 2, and every Nico on your board, or at least on your bench. Like the bench slots are the limiting factor. Like literally, if you're double buffered, if you're double buffered with like some number of like cooked pairs on your bench, you're literally already down to only 3 bench slots, like 3 free bench slots approximately.
It seems like intuitively to me, then the only unit that's worth holding is Bard, and then like you don't even hold Nico and
No, you have to hold. I feel like you'd have to hold Nico. Nico's like the more important one, honestly. Kiana, I can for sure see dropping. That
or
one
just
might be wrong.
fuck Bard, like fuck Bard in that line, because Bard is only used in that line to get you more econ anyway, right? Like
no. He's the carry. He's the best early carry to have.
Wouldn't you rather have Ori as your
no,
carry?
No. In that comp, Bard is better. Bard is better than that comp.
I see.
Ori is not better without 4 Piltover on the board.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's helpful.
Yeah.
All right, let's do stage 1.
Yeah.
Maybe since we're running low on time, we got 20 minutes. Let's just go through my games.
Sure. A macro thing, I think it's pretty bad to make 10 most of the time. Okay. On this patch. You mind full screening it?
Okay, this is Howling.
Yeah. Could you full screen the player? Sorry.
Okay, let me.
Bottom right should be. Oh, you can do media player.
I might do this because it gets laggy.
The ads. Oh, laggy. Okay, I see. Okay, sure. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so.
All right, so that's like the worst possible one, right?
Yeah, but to your point, you're willing to play it if there's nothing.
If it's your best spot. Yeah, but I see you have Nico pair. You have Nico pair, and you can unlock Orianna. So this is like I would say like quite a good Orianna opener. I think like Orianna Invoker Defender opener.
Okay, so default you would commit Nico and Caitlyn here.
It's 1-3. I mean, like Nico pair is safe to commit. Caitlyn is safe to commit because I don't think you can unlock it. Yeah, Nico pair Caitlyn is safe to commit, I think.
Okay, and is that enough of an opener for you to make 10 or no? You're saying no, right? Like you basically never make 10.
No, because you have to hold you want to make a strong board ideally, right? So like you want to hold every Jarvan, every Rumble, every Sona, right? Like is what you want to hold.
Okay. Okay, so I commit some combination, 2 out of 3 of these Nikos with the Caitlyn, and then I'm willing
Probably
to.
Caitlyn Nico. Yeah.
I want to buy these two.
Yep.
Are you holding this Lulu if
I
you're
mean, this Lulu doesn't
holding
do
Nico?
anything. This Lulu is fucking useless.
Oh, right, because we have Kog'Maw. Okay, so we're selling this probably to buy Jin. I forget what the Ionia is. Um,
I mean, if it's good, holding the Jin is chill. Yeah.
and then are we prioing the Briar over the Sona if we're gonna potentially consider uh, Void? Or you like keeping Sona with like on a roll open?
I would just keep the Sona because it's good for the Invoker opener.
Oh,
Um,
right.
like the
So
lowest prio units is like the Lulu. Okay, so like of the, I'm gonna assume we get normal gold because I think that's probably gonna happen. I just sell Lulu. I buy Cog, Rumble, and then probably just Jin, and then that's just what I hold. If you have a stylistic preference, if the Ionia is bad or something, you can hold the Viego or like the Briar is fine. Um, yeah.
okay, so what's your line distribution from this spot? Do you think it's like majority
Like this is like
Ori?
85% Oriana, yeah.
Okay,
Like the chances not Oriana is very low, in my opinion. Because you have
like
Nico pair.
yeah. Okay, and then
I mean,
usually
if you
when
say
you
like sword, glove, bow, like you would be, or you'd be Ionia much more often, but like that's kind of a rare combination, right?
right, and when you unlock Ori with Kate, are you usually just selling her right away, or are you
Selling Kate, yeah, you just instantly sell the Kate.
okay? There's no like Piltover mod that's good enough that you'd be like, I want to remove her.
No, no.
Okay,
You just hope you find Violator.
right.
And like there's enough comparable alternatives that it just wouldn't be worth it to do that. Like comparable level fives. Because level five, right, is when it would go on. So here, I think like feeling this is fundamentally probably a mistake because it's not. I don't. If you did you see Ionia as your highest like frequency opener here
I
before
want
the
to say
sword?
it's a good. It may be a gold Ionia. So then, because I don't remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah, fair
well, we
enough.
could go
Even if
check.
it was a gold
I assume I
Ionia,
checked. Yeah.
even if it was a gold Ionia, I would actually not that have it. I would not have that affect me that much.
Okay.
It is gold because I know the frequency that other people are playing it goes up as well. It
Okay.
actually, in my opinion, becomes more important to have a better spot on Gold Ionia because you need to beat contesters or like scare them off, hopefully, or something like that.
Okay.
I'm actually less willing to play Gold Ionia with weaker openers, especially. Like one Jin, one Shen here, I consider to be at least weaker in comparison to like what your other opener would be.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there a spot where if let's say that is there a threshold where like everyone else is also unlocking Ori where you would be like, okay, I'm not gonna unlock Ori?
No. You would probably everyone's unlocking Ori. Okay, it's for sure possible, right? Like there could be like three other players unlocking
Yeah.
Oriana. I mean, they're not all gonna play, and it's the best thing you can play. Like here, I guess like if that's everyone's Ori and there's no void, I just put the void on the board. I guess if everyone's like if there's like four Ori, one void, one Jin, and then you just figure out what based on what you have upgraded. Yeah.
Okay.
Just keep in mind that the Oris all can split into both Demacia and Seraphine, especially depending on what their supporting units are. So like the Cog, I wouldn't sell.
So the reason I sold the cog there is because I have Husk and there were 2 other void committed players who have.
They're not void committed on 1-3, I don't think. I think that's the wrong evaluation to make.
I see. They both have like BIS mods.
If they have
You don't
BIS
think
mods,
so?
only void, yeah, you can just get out of there. Sure, I think it's
Okay.
fine.
Like literally both of them had BIS mods.
Well, they would all. You also have to compare it to what else they have. I think, like if they have nothing else on their bench and they're just like they're cog Kate Cho like Jug, then yeah, for sure they're playing it. I would just sell.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but
So
if they're
this
like
is
Cho Malzahar Briar 2, like that's not so clear.
right. Okay. So I should be unlocking. Well, I didn't get. That was a mistake to sell the. I was not thinking for some reason. I sold the Caitlyn
Yeah,
there.
yeah. That's a mistake. Yeah,
Maybe I was too hard tunneled on Ionia.
yeah. That's probably a bad idea.
Okay. Now it's in a classic spot where I'm like gonna. I
By
have
the
no
way,
opener.
the cog can play into Slayers. By the way, like that one, like your setup for Slayers is totally fine, and that's one of your better outs from the. Like if there's like 3 Oris unlocked other than you, and you don't have the Caitlyn, like Slayers is one of your better lines from here with the
Okay,
Void Cook.
you're
With like
just
the
opening void into Slayers.
yeah,
And then who's item holding in usually Briar or
Kiana's
Rek'Sai,
better.
Kiana? Okay.
Rek'Sai's fine. Rek'Sai kills a lot of units. Like it doesn't matter particularly. But yeah,
Okay.
those your holders. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta keep that in mind more. And then now I'm in like a no man's land spot. I'd probably buy Kiana and Rumble.
Yeah, you buy Kiana Rumble, and then
Like
if you
default
don't
angle
unlock
is Slayers
Poppy,
now. Or okay, I
it
can.
depends. I mean, you're either Slayers or Demacia from here, or Ionia, depending on what your 2-1 shop is. I don't think you should be committed in any direction. And
Okay.
if you sell here, I think it'd be a really big mistake.
So what would you commit here?
You can't like onto the board or like
Yeah,
line
onto the
wise. You
board.
can't
Onto
you
the
can't.
board.
I would scout around. If it looks like there's somehow no Ionias and the Ionias are good, if it looks like there's no Slayer, I mean, I would.
So
If it looks like
commit
there's
the
no
line that's
Demacia,
least contested.
yes, correct. That's how you would do it.
Okay. I think Ionia was heavily contested.
Yeah, so I wouldn't commit that one then. Yeah, this is for sure Slayers, which
Let's
you would want both the Cho and the Cog for. And now we're
right.
holding a Teemo and a Lulu, which we can't possibly play.
Okay. And it's a slam Titans open sword.
Yeah, yeah, Titans open sword. Yeah,
And if that's the ideal line, it's either patience or latent.
yep.
Probably
It's not prep.
patience.
Yeah, yeah. I like patience.
Okay. Um
I think your best line from seeing patience is you play Ishtal reroll for this spot.
oh. Uh okay, you're just opening until 3-2.
Yeah, you would roll for Bard on 2-3.
Oh, right. Okay.
You probably take a tier off the carousel, chill with your components. You have Nico Pair already, which helps. The Bard comes for free later. If you see a good shop, you can double lock till 2-3, and that's just your line. It's like the most stable thing to do here, I think.
So with Ishtal reroll, given that on a roll you prefer Sona, is it mainly patience and ticket that you would play into Ishtal then?
Too much value is better into Ishtal as well.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's go to the next game. The open. Oh, I don't have portal. All right, I have Lulu on board. I might just buy Jarvan pair, commit the Jarvan pair. I'm willing to sell the Lulu for the Kog'Maw.
Yep, I agree.
I guess I should first buy the Kog'Maw, check Void, and then decide if I sell that for Vieg.
Uh,
Or no, Kog'Maw will
I,
go with
I would,
my.
yeah, I would do it in the other order because I just don't think the Lulu is useful for anything at all.
Okay. So just
I think
auto sell
Lulu is
Lulu.
completely 100% useless. Yeah.
And then by default, it should just be Jarvan pair plus Kog'Maw.
Yeah, Lulu is my lowest prio unit in the entire game.
Okay.
If you look at like If you made puzzles on me, I would literally never have a Lulu on 2-1. It's impossible.
Okay, I made a mistake of selling cog here.
Yeah, the cog is probably better than Diego.
Okay, so now I buy this Jarvan and then sell this Viego for Rumble, and doesn't really matter.
Yeah, Rumble something.
Do you sell the? Given that I already have frontline, would you sell this to buy this in case you hit solo leveling?
It's a good question. No, I would probably hold if the Ionia is reasonable. I would probably just hold Jin plus some other garbage, and then be prepared to hopefully spike a Shen and maybe another Ionia. I think that's a better out to play towards.
Okay. If I didn't have any other outs and I held the Rek'Sai and hit solo leveling, would you be willing to click it? And if so, what item would you slam? DT or Gunblade?
I don't know if solo leveling Rek'Sai 1 is good enough. It might be. I don't know. It would the slam would be Gunblade, I think, most of the time, and you just playing the Slayers.
Play QSS. Okay. Yeah, a bunch of the TFT Dojo Challenger players were saying that line is insane into Slayer with
Rek'Sai?
With Rek'Sai.
Just the Rek'Sai 1?
Yeah.
Okay, I would believe it. It seems very hard to kill.
Yeah, they're saying they 5-streak like, I don't know, vast majority of the time.
Okay, I believe in it.
And then are we unlocking, I assume we're unlocking Puppy here?
Slam
Gunblade, open cloak.
I mean, that's for sure fine.
I did not have enough time here. If I did have more time, it would still be Gunblade and Kraken.
I don't know what my apprehension precisely is, but I am trained to be apprehensive in this spot about the slam. I think like the 3 Demacia for the Vayne board is not even that strong. It's good. It's not that strong here. And losing the opportunity to play around more flexibly, other things you would have here is probably not the best.
Okay.
Like the situation, like you would probably lose the ability to play around
Ionia, like Yanara.
Yeah, it would be specifically Ionia, or in case you hit it off like some random emblems, or like what is it? Scaling combat Warwick, you wouldn't really want to have the Gunblade either. You'd probably be like BT default, go for bow.
Or honor roll.
Yeah, or honor roll. Honor roll Sona Gunblade is okay. Like that's not even that big of a deal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, I believe I know enough good outs that it would not be right for me to slam it for the Vayne here.
Okay.
If I had it for free, like with a random emblem or something, I would do it. But I wouldn't want to commit an item like this.
So you don't feel like this is a strong enough opener to consistently 5-streak to justify this?
No.
Okay.
Especially if the other slam isn't good. It's a Oh, it is a good slam. Okay, if you have Kraken, I'm in.
Okay. So I was
thought this was a
before,
4-component opener.
Yeah, I was slamming before I saw the Kraken, I think. So
I mean, as long as you can make another item as good. The thing is, you don't always get to make another item, I think.
Okay, so now what's your take on what percentage of the time I'm 5-streaking stage 2?
I mean, you're not 5-streaking, but it's just your best play most of the time. Okay. Like, it doesn't matter if you're 5-streaking or not. It just matters that it's your best play. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like, I think the chance that it's your best play is like 90 over 90%. The chance you're 5-streaking is probably close to 70. Or 60 to 70.
Okay. And then given that I'm slamming here, I should sell this Jin for this Blitz.
I mean, after you commit this, you just sell it doesn't really matter. You just sell the Mundo for both the units, because Slayers you can kind of still. Yeah.
And so then if I'm trying to streak, I take Band of Thieves. Given I have Jarvan too.
Yeah. That'd be pretty good. I like Band of Thieves here. Band of Thieves is literally better than Slightly Magical Rule there, I think. Actually, Slightly Magical can give you you can there's like some things you can do to look over the table, but yeah.
Slightly Magical could give you a 2-star Poppy, right?
Yes, it can.
Yeah. But like the lower variance seems like
Yeah, the TG's good.
TG's good. Okay,
Alright, cool. Take a quick peek at this spot. And this is just buy shop, right?
Yeah. All right, I have Jarvan and Rumble on board. I want to buy Shinzao, I want to check Kog'Maw Void, and I want to buy the Nico. I'm willing to sell the Jinx. So buy the right side, sell this for Anivia.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep. And you should feel the Caitlyn.
Oh, right, to unlock.
For sure feel Caitlyn, yeah. For sure feel Caitlyn, yeah.
Okay, all right, I did that this time.
Cool, that's good. Yeah, as you can see, I'm much more willing to commit to Caitlyn and the unlock compared to Poppy because the level of difference it makes is very large to the line.
Okay, so this is just Slam Void and Vest.
Yeah, Void Vest is good. It's a gold opener. It is a
gold.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Yeah. What do you mean?
In this spot, if I'm unlocking
never sell.
Okay, you're still not making 10, like because I could sell this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or no.
I mean, you might want to play a different board. Like
I see. Like I can still get on a roll.
Yeah, there's just so much that we have to sell, right? Like we have to sell. It's just like there's so much that we have to sell that we're like, okay, it would be. No, you can't sell here. You cannot sell here.
Like what
this match you can't sell here.
Drastically shifts that you would want these.
It's not the augment. Over. It's just a shop. Like you don't know which invoker you want. You don't know which defenders you want, right? Like you don't know what's going to be upgraded or what's going to be paired.
Like I could get a Jarvan 2 natural in shop and I would want the Sona, or if I got a Sedge in shop, I would want the Anivia.
Yes, the Sedge in shop. If you see Anivia's in the shop, you'd want the Anivia. If you see Rumble's in the shop, you'd want the Rumble, right? Like if you sell here, your board will not be strong. It cannot be strong. Like the chance it's strong significantly goes down. And I think if that happens, your EV on the game significantly goes down.
Okay, that makes sense.
Given the state of how this game works right now.
All right, out of these, I'm leaning middle.
Yeah, you default Pyro, yeah. The last Pilfer game I played, I top forward and never cashed out the TG on like 5-5.
What are you even playing Treasure Hunt with? Like
never. I'm pretty sure you never. If it's like somehow like a 20 gold opener, you play it into Ishtar reroll. And it's good.
Okay.
But it has to be like 20 gold opener or like gold sub or loot sub and like high gold open.
Right. And Cooking Pot, you're not really taking either anymore?
You just never take that one. You just never take Cooking Pot. Okay. I don't even know what we're scouting for. What's on the right? What are we deciding between? Pilfer? No. You cannot take Pilfer. The Pilfer is impossible to take.
Okay.
That one's actually pretty reasonable. I think I like Salvage here.
Okay, and I was viewing these as roughly equal, and actually, I think I was slightly preferring this, but actually, if I view them as slightly equal, I should roll this one because I have 2 rolls here, only 1 here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that was a mistake of leaning this more.
I mean, you also need to think what is the best augment you can get here, is what you need to think about. Like if you don't know that, we're just like rolling without direction either.
Like Econ?
Like straight, like what? Trade Epic. Sector, Epic. Yeah, I think I agree. Yeah.
Too much value?
Yeah, too much value would be very good. Yeah. Like you're looking for the crazy outs. Like, yeah, those would be good.
Okay, so I definitely should have rolled this because I have 2.
Yep.
Okay. And then this is just into Ori or Seraphine
Yep.
list.
Yeah, Seraphim list. You can't level this turn. You hit the farm some upgrades, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. I think that brings us about to the end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All
That's
right,
all full.
cool. That's what's playing. Practice this way of going through the openers. I believe it's night and day, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Oh, Double Trouble would be good in this spot too. You had Leeching first, I think.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Like Leeching first is a huge
Do
premium.
not sell
I think.
mouths because of Double Trouble. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good one. Good call. All right. Thanks for the session. I'll talk to you later.
All right, no problem. I'll catch you around. All right, have a good day. See you.
You too.